Welcome to the Inc. Productivity Tip of the Day. Today's tip. People who excel at starting a conversation always do this. An expert opinion by Minda Zetlin, author of Career Self-Care. Find your happiness, success, and fulfillment at work. How can you make sure to have a great conversation even with someone you just met? Find a conversational doorknob. The term conversational doorknob comes from social psychologist Adam Mastriani. In a piece for CNBC.com, Boston University clinical psychologist Ellen Hendrickson explains, a conversational doorknob can be anything that piques your interest, reminds you of something else, elicits a question, or is, no way, me too, relatable. Conversational doorknobs can transform small talk into something much more. They can help business leaders and entrepreneurs build the connections they need for success. How does this work in the real world? Recently, I was at an event celebrating Microsoft's 50th anniversary, where I knew almost no one. I fell into conversation with a stranger and asked if she was a Microsoft alum, as many in the audience were. She said she'd worked for the company for many years. I asked if she'd always lived in the Pacific Northwest. This is a good conversation starter in this region because so many people have moved here from elsewhere, including me. She replied that she'd grown up on the East Coast, then moved to the UK where she married and lived for 7 years, before she and her husband relocated to the Seattle area. I now had 4 conversational doorknobs to choose from. First, I grew up on the East Coast as well, so I could ask what differences she'd seen between there and here. Second, I could ask about her experience living in Britain as an American. Third, I could ask about marrying someone from a different culture, which I also did in my first marriage. Fourth, I could ask for insights about international relocation, which is something my husband and I may do someday. You can find at least one conversational doorknob, and usually more, in almost any conversation, even if it's with a complete stranger. You never know where any conversation might lead. A few minutes, her friend joined us, and my new acquaintance introduced me. The friend is an artificial intelligence expert, and I just happen to need an AI expert for an article I'm working on. Want to go doorknob hunting yourself? Here's how to do it. 1. Ask an open-ended question, then listen. Are you a Microsoft alum? Was a safe bet in last night's crowd. In a different situation, I might have said, are you enjoying the event? Or, geez, this rain is relentless, based on the night's weather. Now, listen attentively to what the other person has to say. Try not to let your attention wander to planning your next response or what's on tomorrow's agenda. 2. Choose a conversational doorknob. Chances are the person's answer will include at least 2 or 3 doorknobs that you can turn to deepen the conversation and create a connection with the person you're speaking with. Choose one of them and ask about it. Or use the powerhouse phrase, tell me more. If there are multiple options, which one should you pick? Consider picking the one that intrigues you the most. You won't have to pretend to be interested in what the other person is saying because chances are good that you really will be interested. Or choose something that you have in common. If they say something that you're highly interested in and also have in common with them, that's probably a good doorknob to turn. 3. Mention your connection, but don't overdo it. Today is an age of self-expression, with everyone sharing their thoughts on social media, blogs, and pretty much every place else. But when you're starting a conversation with a stranger, sharing is important, but less equals more. Mention what you have in common with them, but don't tell them all about it. For example, if I'd chosen the doorknob about marrying someone from another culture, I might have said something like, that's so interesting. I also was married to a non-American at one time. What was it like for you to be married to someone from a different culture? That gives her the choice to either ask about my former marriage or tell me more about her own marriage. It's a lot more effective than saying something like, oh, I was married to a non-American as well, though in my case, he was Peruvian. That marriage turned out to be a disaster for other reasons, but I really loved learning about his culture while we were together. Just like a real doorknob, a conversational doorknob is something you can grab onto. Use it to start building a connection with a new acquaintance. Just as in real life, conversational doorknobs can open doors. There's a growing community of Inc.com readers who get a daily text from me with a micro-challenge, suggestion, or question. Many are entrepreneurs or business leaders who know how important it is to be able to start a conversation with a stranger and build an immediate connection. Conversational doorknobs, are a great way to do that. That's it from Inc. You can find more fascinating and helpful articles from Minda and other thought leaders at Inc.com. Check back tomorrow for another tip from Inc.